Well, good morning. Today is tax day, April 15th. Hope you've all paid your taxes. Pay a little extra. Pay on time. Whoa, coming in hot. Pay on time. Pay a little more. You just don't want to be in any situation like some people where you end up paying, where you have to pay more taxes. Pay the tax down. Yes, there are some arguments to be made about taxes, what we should pay, what we shouldn't pay. But for right now, let's pay our taxes. Maybe we even get a little back. I heard Trump today talking, or yesterday, I guess, technically, talking about this is kind of a wild thing, but if the tariffs work out well, maybe we can ditch the income tax. I won't hold my breath on that one, but I would love to see it. I'm sure you would too. So, with that, got a few new clips to play here, and I am just going to get right into it as usual. One is kind of heartbreaking, and so I'm not gonna start with that one. I may just finish with that. I may not even get to it, but it broke my heart a little bit. It's breaking my heart. Okay, so I'm going to start with Secretary Kennedy. Which one do I want to start with? You know what? I'm going to start with HHS. This is the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services YouTube channel. For all of you who may not know they have a YouTube channel, they certainly do. And so I'm going to play, I think there's a few new videos here. Let's go and walk through a few of these here.
Hi, I'm Robert F. Kennedy Jr., your Secretary for Health and Human Services, and I'm here in Phoenix with Dr. Marvasti at the Native Health Clinic. And this is really a model clinic that we want to reproduce all over the country. The Indian population in this country has the highest chronic disease rate in America, and they're sick because they're being mass poisoned by commodity food and by processed food. Wow.
What we need to be doing is we need to be using food and lifestyle primarily to keep people healthy. And I've seen it. Food can be used to prevent, treat, and even reverse the chronic disease of our time. And when I talk about food, I'm talking about real food. I'm not talking about processed food or food-like substances.
And behind me, you see all of these foods in here are high-quality foods. They are grown in the Gila River in Indian country, and they are feeding people and restoring health.
And the way we want to make America healthy again is by giving people access to real, nutrient-dense food.
I'd like to clone this place and make it the standard of care in Indian country.
It's amazing. I would too.
Produced by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
A big question is why we haven't done that yet in this country. But, you know, we can always talk about that later. Who's to blame? There's enough blame to go around, I'm sure. But right now, we just need to fix the problem. And that's what RFK Jr., Secretary of HHS, RFK Jr. is doing. Let's play another one here.
Hi, I'm Robert F. Kennedy Jr., your HHS Secretary. I'm here with Commissioner Marty McCary of the FDA, and I got a wonderful tour of this facility today. I saw some of the high level of innovation.
The simulation of aortic valve.
And it's all patient-oriented or all outcome-oriented, and for me, it was a really exciting day.
If you walk forward, please.
We spent the day learning about the tools and models and AI and software and the great work of the career scientists here at the FDA to support inventors and developers and those who are discovering things on the edge of science.
So everything in here is a technology that we call additive manufacturing.
It's important for me to get out here and to meet the scientists, meet the administrators, understand the needs of this agency and what I can do as secretary to empower them to do their job of protecting the American patient.
Very cool.
Produced by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
So those are some of the newest ones. Just posting this to YouTube as well. Why not? Why not spread it around? Spread the love. There is one more here. They got the trifecta. that one a like. I never thought I'd be playing videos from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Well, this is awesome. Kennedy and Trump have really turned this country around. Not just them, but a lot of people. But they have really turned this country around. Okay, one more.
Hi, I'm Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and I'm Secretary of your HHS. I'm here today with Navajo President Migrant. Navajo is one of the longest lived people on our continent. Navajo historically were healthy, and today their lifespan has dramatically decreased. And we have so many opportunities here to help the Navajo people to make them healthy again.
So we wanted to do this really nice, beautiful hike for you. So we're going to hike all the way to Window Rock, and then we're going to be able to hike back down and to be able to talk through some of the challenges on Navajo. Ready for the hike, this beautiful hike? We haven't always had this health disparity. Navajos at one time lived 102 years. They farmed, they were able to be self-sufficient. How do we get back to that level? How do we increase health? How do people live to 102 years? How can they physically, mentally be prepared to be good citizens of this country and of the reservation? And I know that those are some of the fundamental principles that you lead this nation on. So we'll come up to the top right at this peak.
This is an especially moving trip for me, since I came here 60 years ago with my father for the first time. And I've been here many times since because my family's deep bond with the Navajo people.
Okay, all right, I'll follow you. I've never been to the top of Window Rock, so the secretary took me to the top of Window Rock. Very uncomfortable, and that's the type of leader you are. Let's push the pace. Let's go beyond our boundaries. So yeah, I want to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It's amazing what people can do, what Americans can do, what the world can do. When we put a little effort into it, put a little love in your heart, and put a little effort into what we are doing here to make this country great and healthy again. The MAHA tour, it's not the end, definitely. I wish it would have got more coverage, but that's okay because it's not about that. Kennedy is boots on the ground in this situation, and that is exactly where we need him. And speaking of Kennedy and Trump and Vance too, Vance in the middle, still Vance. I like Vance. He's cool. He's cool with me. The new book is just about done. I got my second proof copy here today. I will be going through that just to make sure there's no printing errors, no formatting errors like last time where some of the page numbers were backwards, and so I had some issues with that. As you can see, this is the blooper reel copy, but it is just about done, and I'm just about ready to get that published for anyone who wants to download the PDF free. The PDFs are always free, and then of course it will be available on lulu.com. And this time I will also be making it available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble's worldwide distribution for anyone who wants to buy it there. But if you're going to be looking for the best price is always going to be on lulu.com. So that is just about done, just about ready. And then, of course, then we just move on to the next book. So I may have 4 books coming out in this year. Trump and Kennedy have inspired me to push myself further. Look at all the stuff they've done in 100 days. Let me close this. It's a little loud out there. Look at all the stuff they've done in 100 days. So I'm going to do my part and try to push myself too a little bit. Which I don't normally do. I normally like to be chill and relaxed. I got to get this. I don't know what they got going on out there. It is yard work time. That is exactly what is going on. But we never forget. I never forget about all of these great things that have happened over the last 2 years. It has been a great 2.5 years maybe. So I am really looking forward to getting this book out there, getting it published. And again, it will be free for anyone who wants the PDF. And hey, Rick, how are you, my friend? I'm going to give Rick this blooper copy here that has all the errors, all the printing errors, so you can have a nice laugh at that when I get around to sending Rick the care package I've been talking about for probably a year now. But it's coming, I promise, my friend. The check is in the mail. It is coming. But as you know, there's just so many hours in the day. So It is early. It's not too early for me. Well, it may be a little bit early, but everybody's out of the house. It's quiet, so this is a very good time. I feel like I'm at my best in the mornings. I feel much better than some of the late night shows there, but yeah, mixing it up a little bit. Congrats on your new book. Tell me I'm getting an autographed copy. Absolutely. Yep, you'll get the first one, the very first one ever published. Once again, here it is, the blooper copy. So you'll see the blooper errors. You'll see all the errors in there. Not typos or anything like that. Catherine fixed all of that stuff for me. But you'll see some formatting errors. And like I said, some of the page numbers, what you'll see is like some of the page numbers are backwards. So that was kind of frustrating. But it's all good. It's all good. All a work in progress. So yeah, it'll be very rare. There'll only be one. You'll have there will never be another one. Hopefully. Hopefully. So then we move on to some other books and move on to this one book, the NWO, which I am really looking forward to putting out there. I'm just about done proofreading the JFK chapter, which is about cut it down now to about 97 pages. So the NWO book starts out with Napoleon crowning himself as king. It goes through some of the Rothschilds. It goes through a little bit of the Great Depression, which then helped create the Federal Reserve Bank. Smedley Butler and the super soldier story, which I love telling, how General Smedley Butler was tasked with basically he was asked, tapped on the shoulder by the New World Order to lead 500,000 soldiers to take the country over, basically. So this war, this NWO, the war with the New World Order, has been going on for a long time. Lots of quotes from a lot of various people that you'll recognize talking about the New World Order, the One World Order. Then it flips into JFK, the JFK conspiracy, all the stuff that I have been, the stuff that stands out to me, which focuses a lot on Jim Garrison's case, the district attorney, the only person to ever try somebody, bring a criminal court case related to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Jim Garrison got that done. He's the reason why we have the Zapruder film, and he's the reason why, he's the reason why I even got involved in this. And one of the best books that I've ever read on the case is On the Trail of the Assassins by Jim Garrison. District Attorney Jim Garrison, later, I believe he became a judge too, but one of the best books. If you ever seen the movie JFK, he is the Kevin Costner character, and a very interesting story, very famous story. So most of it focuses around that, on Oswald's travels, and on a man named Richard Case Nagel, which many people may not know about. Richard Case Nagel is a very important character in my view, that relates to this case. And so a man named Dick Russell, author Dick Russell, who has written many books for RFK Jr. and for Jesse Ventura. Dick Russell wrote one of the best books, I would say the second best book on the JFK, maybe the third best book, The Man Who Knew Too Much by Dick Russell. And yes, Rick, I got a copy of that, of both of these two books. I have copies of that included in this care package, and the Bohemian Grove book. So at least those 4 books, I really want to get those out to you. And so I will be contacting you probably once again to get your address of where to send it to, since now Skype is going away and now it's all about Teams, and I can't find some stuff on Teams and some stuff isn't on Skype, and I'm just more confused than ever. So with all that being said, then the book will travel, most likely will go into the Boston bombing, the Batman shooting, if you remember that, in Colorado, where this guy, they say James Holmes, shot up the theater in Colorado, where I believe it was actually 2 people. Then it will travel into Jesse Ventura and the Sucker Punch by Chris Kyle, and how Jesse Ventura sued Chris Kyle. And we all know what happened with Chris Kyle too. And then the Kyle Rittenhouse story, which is another great one. So those are the main things that this book, the NWO, is going to cover. I'm done. We're just about done, ready to publish the Philip Marshall book, the first and probably only book on the Philip Marshall case. He's been wiped from the internet pretty much. If you don't know who Philip Marshall is, it's probably because they've wiped just about anything and everything they can to go over the Philip Marshall case. They used to have some interviews that you could find on YouTube. I'm sure it's probably on Rumble. You could probably find them on Rumble, probably find them other places, but YouTube is like just about completely wiped everything related to the Philip Marshall case. And then, of course, the one that I keep putting aside for whatever reason, I don't know why, the COVID book that I have written, just about the early days of COVID-19, the invisible enemy. So we'll see how far I can get in 2025. If I can get all those out in 2025, it will be a miracle, but we will see. Great movie. Yeah, JFK, definitely. That's the movie that really got me thinking that, oh, wow, something really happened here. That this is not just one lone gunman. The lone gunman theory went right out the window, which then opened up my eyes later on to September 11th. Yeah, one of my top 10 too, I would definitely say. I really want to do a book. Yeah, we should, man. I'm telling you, you should. And if you're interested in what we talked about that forward, let me know. Let me know. What I'll do is when I get a nice first draft, I'll send you a copy of the book. You can see, kind of get the gist. But I just pretty much told you the whole book, the whole NWO book there. Philip Marshall case. Yeah. There's nothing on the Philip Marshall case. There's really isn't anything. And he's done some interviews that are really worth watching, but you won't find them. You won't find them out there on YouTube. But I haven't looked at Rumble. Hopefully they're on Rumble somewhere. Maybe I have a copy somewhere. I don't know. So yeah, good luck trying to find those. All right, so next I am going to look at Secretary Kennedy. Secretary Kennedy's X channel. Still getting used to calling it the X channel. It's not just a weird name. It reminds me somewhat like DX and then like you're excommunicated or something. So this is posted April 11th by Secretary Kennedy. I want to empower each and every U.S. FDA employee to not see themselves as bureaucrats. Oh, we said Nazi. But as leaders in an inspired and engaged workforce whose goal is to improve the health of this nation, particularly for our children. What is he doing here? He's got those glasses or those things on. I wonder that there's no speech. I wish they would record more of his speeches there. Let's see. Am I not following? There's a lot of these things. I'm like, I don't want to follow this. But then if I want to see it, if I want to stay up to date, I need to follow it. So here's what it said. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration today welcomed HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to its headquarters in Silver Spring, Maryland, a visit that included remarks to FDA employees, meetings with agency leadership, and a tour of several medical device innovation laboratories on the FDA's White Oak campus. So there is that. And then you go to fda.gov. I got to follow all these government websites now just to keep up with what Kennedy is doing. What are they doing here? FDA Commissioner Dr. Martin A. McCreary and HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. examine a model of a human spine in an FDA laboratory. That's a little creepy. All right. And no video or anything like that. Okay. All right, well, I can get down with that. No problem. What else do we got from our secretary? Anything else new? I think this one. Yeah, I already played that one, Native American Health, and then the op-ed. So it looks like those are all the ones from Kennedy's page. And then let's see if there's anything in HHS Gov that I've missed. Doesn't look like it, but I'm now following all of these things that I just never thought that I would be following before. HHS has announced Secretary Kennedy. Maybe I should play this. What is this? Renewing the opioid public health emergency. Maybe I'll play this one. It's only 20 seconds. Come on. Substance and abuse. HHS, there's no audio to it. HHS has announced that Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. renewed the public health emergency declaration addressing our, man, they go so fast, I can't keep up, addressing our nation's opioid crisis. Although overdose deaths are starting to decline, opioid-involved overdoses remain the leading cause of drug-related fatalities. This administration is going to treat this urgent crisis in American health as the national security emergency that it is. Let it go. Now they slow it down for me. Renewing the opioid public health emergency declaration affirms the administration's commitment to addressing the opioid overdose crisis and is one of many critical steps we will take to make America healthy again. And that is from the man, myth, the legend, the machine. Okay, that's good stuff. I think that is all for that. Some more things he did in March. Yeah, and they haven't really played anything, nothing too new on the FDA. But there is a little bit here. This is a great interview that happened, when did this happen? On the 8th, April 8th here, with Dr. Lapook. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But he is Kennedy in this clip.
You've been
is asked about working on the inside.
You've been a rabble rouser your whole life from the outside. What's it like to be on the inside now?
It's good. I mean, it's the best job I've ever had. I look forward to going to work every day. I'm working with immensely talented people. And, as you probably know, the greatest joy of going to work every day is if you are mission oriented and you're working with exceptional people. And, I have that privilege.
Very cool.
Shipbuilding business. We may.
Okay, so that's all I wanted to play for that. That was only about 30 some odd seconds there. It says they should look up my messed up bent spine. Yeah, maybe they can create something. Maybe they can, do something to help people with those spinal issues, the spinal tap issues there. That would be good. But they got to do research. They got to do testing. But you got to have the right people who really care, who really want to get something done, not just get a grant and then don't do anything with it. So that's some of the problem there that we have. We need incentives for real scientists to do some real work. Rick also says, I'm doing a radio show with an incredible guest on this very topic, on the fentanyl crisis. The fentanyl crisis is definitely, that is definitely a show that I will be curious to watch. It's a sad topic, and it's very sad how quickly and how deadly this is. And what President Trump was saying recently is, this is war, and it's coming through our borders. How does it get to the borders? Where is it coming from? If it's coming from China, and they showed how little it really takes to kill somebody, it's coming from China. It has a lot to do with these tariffs. It's coming through Canada. Not just Mexico, but through Canada too. So it's not like it's only coming through the USA through Canada. No, I'm sure it's just as rampant up there in Canada too, and in Mexico and in other places. And it's hard to track sometimes too, because they don't know enough about it, and they're in love with China, so they don't want to upset the apple cart. But that it's too late for that now that we're in this tariff war. I'm curious to see how this affects the fentanyl crisis that we have. Will it affect it? Now that it's going to be harder, almost impossible for China to ship anything into the USA and vice versa. So we'll see where that goes. I'll be curious. Definitely will be paying attention to that. Well, it has come to the point of something I did not want to really discuss, but I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to. And I'm stalling because I don't want to talk about it. Greg, just search quickly fentanyl penny pick, and it will show just how little kills you. Interesting. Okay, fentanyl penny pick. Whoops. Let's check my spelling. Is this sharing? No. There it is. Wow. Look at that. Next to the penny right here. That's a good one. God, look how little this. That's all it takes. It could be anywhere with anything. And what are those things called? Not the bed and breakfast, the Airbnbs. I hear they're finding things like this because people rent out those places. They rent out some Airbnb. Family gets back home, little kid is on the ground, sees it, it ends up in their mouth. They're crawling on the floor or something like that, and kills people. It's really sad. Very sad, and something has to be done about it. So I like that Trump is keeping it on everybody's mind here. Biden didn't do that. It's a big deal for President Trump. It's a big deal for his administration. So I'm very happy to see fentanyl. What is her name? I think it's Pam Bondi. Where she was talking about this. I probably don't have that clip. It's too bad. It's a really good clip. Maybe it wasn't her. Maybe it was Christy Nome. Could have been Christy Nome. But there's one of them that we're talking about how little, and they showed like literally a couple stacks and like that, how many people that could kill. I mean, this is a crisis. This is a big, big crisis, a big epidemic that we are facing. It's ruining lives, it's killing people. And we got to do whatever we can to stop it. So there is that. It says, oh yeah, you and I will also be doing a great topic show with Stephen about hidden cameras. B&B made me think of that. Oh, that's true. It does relate to that. Yeah, we are going to be doing that. Hope maybe next weekend. Like I said, any Saturday afternoons are usually going to be the best for me. Or Saturday mornings, really. Saturday mornings. Around 9 or so my time, maybe 10. Those are really going to be the best times for me. But we will make that work, and it does relate with the Airbnbs, the hidden cameras, and the fentanyl. Who knows? Maybe with the hidden cameras, maybe they can find some fentanyl users. All right. Well, we are going to now show this. I really don't want to play this, but I'm going to. So here's what I know. President Trump was at UFC over the weekend. I'm gonna stall again and play. I'm gonna play. I just don't want to play what I know I should. It broke my heart. That's all I can say. Let me play this first. So this is Trump going to the UFC 314 this weekend. Okay. All right. This is only 43 seconds. Here he is.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
Okay, so that was Trump's entrance.
I want to wish the Jewish people
into the UFC there. Come on, quit. So that was Trump's entrance to the UFC over the weekend. RFK Jr. was there. RFK Jr.'s wife was there. And as President Trump is coming out, he's shaking everybody's hand. Guess whose hand he doesn't shake? RFK Jr.'s wife, Cheryl Hines. I noticed it. I'm sure other people did too. And the question was, did he do it on purpose? They're getting into the gossip area, but I just thought it was just very disrespectful by Trump to do that to RFK Jr.'s wife, to Secretary Kennedy's wife. So I thought it must be a mistake. Well, let's hear what Sky News has to say about it. They're saying not an accident. So we'll see.
Now, Donald Trump was at the UFC over the weekend and he walked out to a thunderous response from the Miami crowd, flanked by two of his grandchildren.
And making the entrance right now to a standing ovation, the 47th president of the United States of America, flanked by UFC CEO Dana White and others, Donald J. Trump.
Is there anybody else that has a walk-in other than a fighter? He had some music, Kid Rock starts playing. He had one at the NCAA tournament too. He always gets a walkout.
Trump not only got a rock star entrance, but he had sporting stars flocking to shake his hand, including UFC champ Dominic Reyes, moments after his big win. Even Shaq, the great Shaquille O'Neal, made his way through the crowd to greet the president. Let's bring in comedian and host of Primetime with Alex Stein on Blaze TV. Alex, can you remember seeing anything like this? A politician that is reviled by the media but loved by sporting crowds, whether it's at the football, the NASCARs or the UFC?
Well, I mean, Donald Trump is the ultimate celebrity. And when you see him walk into that stadium and the place just goes nuts, you know, it makes you feel warm inside as an American citizen, having a president that is not only all the way there, mentally, but he's all the way there when it comes to the support of the country. And you know what I love the most about this, Rita, is I saw Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy, who had complained all week about his stock portfolio going down, posting a video of him being a huge fangirl for President Trump. So he has that effect on people. Somebody can lose $7 million in 1 week, and then when you see him, your tune changes, and all of a sudden you love the guy again.
Well, there was an awkward moment, we just saw it before, where Trump seemed to ignore actress Cheryl Hines, the wife of RFK Jr. There was plenty of media coverage of this moment, but that's not the full story, Alex. President Trump did go back and he had a chat with Cheryl. He's not.
Thank God. Oh, thank God. Yeah, Rick. For me, yeah, it was, because I haven't seen this clip. So thank God he went back and talked to her or something. But do I think a handshake is a big of a deal? I did. Yeah. I just hoped it wasn't anything more. That was my biggest fear. It was like, oh no, there's some tension there, because there was already tension there. As I wrote in my book, at one point when Kennedy is running for president, and Kennedy is asked, and Cheryl Hines is there with him, and Kennedy is asked, would you consider a place in the Trump administration? And Kennedy looks at the camera, looks at the person who asked him the question and says, I don't think my marriage would survive it. This is probably summer of 2023, maybe, or maybe early 2024. And Cheryl Hines says, I think he's right. So I don't think Cheryl Hines is a big fan of President Trump, or at least wasn't back then, back in 2023. I really thought that had changed, but this is a big snub for me. That was a big, that one hurt. But I'm gonna go back a little bit. And thank God I was wrong, and it's not what I thought it was. It's not the gossip, but you can clearly see. I mean, you can see, I'll just play it.
It's not the full.
Look, he goes right to her.
Full story.
Just walks right there, and look at the face, and she's like, "Oh, how sad."
Alex.
And then Cheryl Kenny's kind of laughing. And
President
then
Trump did go back.
Cheryl did tap him on the shoulder a little bit too, and then I believe she talks to Kai.
And he had a chat with Cheryl. He's not snubbing her as many have claimed.
Oh, thank God. That one hurt my soul, I believe. But oh, that's great news. Okay, so there is no snub, the famous snub. Yeah, he does go back to her and talk to her, but it was just a little bit awkward. I think he was just so focused. I don't know. And maybe it's one of those things like Governor Jesse Ventura was saying how he would never, when he was governor, he would never be alone in the mansion or in anything with a woman. Never, ever, because you don't want anyone to think that there's anything weird going on between you and other women. I thought it was a smart move by Jesse Ventura too, because those things happen, and the media and your enemies, your political enemies, will just wait. They're just waiting to pounce on that, to say that, oh, Jesse Ventura had a meeting with a woman, and who knows what goes on, and who knows what that woman can later on come out and say Jesse Ventura did. So it was a very smart, very bold move. And so maybe this is one of those things where Trump is only shaking the guy's hand. I don't know. I can't even, I don't know. I'm just speculating. That's pretty far-fetched, but you can clearly see he shakes RFK Jr.'s hand.
This moment, but
and just kind of ignores.
Not the full story.
She just really walks right past her. Doesn't just looks at her. Past her. She's like, "What's going on here?"
Alex,
she even taps him on the hand a little bit to like say, "Hey," But he doesn't go. And there's oh my goodness, Tulsi Gabbard. There's Tulsi Gabbard there. He doesn't shake her hand either. So I don't know if that's just a gentlemanly thing. I don't know if it's just something. I don't know. I really don't know what it was, but it really bothered me when I saw it, and I was like, oh man, we're only 100 days in and there's already problems here. Like, that's not a problem you want to have, and there's no reason for Trump to have snubbed her. So I'm glad to hear that that's not true.
And Trump did go back and he had a chat with Cheryl. He's not snubbing her as many have claimed.
Well, Rita, it's obvious that Trump did this on purpose. When you look at Cheryl Hines, considering that she was Larry David's co-star on a show that's all about being awkward, Donald Trump did this on purpose. This awkward moment went super viral, and this was not an accident. So,
really,
be careful what you think about Donald Trump. No, this is the best marketing tool possible for Donald Trump. That snub was a snub heard around the world, Rita. It was great.
No, he was just not looking at her when she had her hand outstretched. I'm sure it was a very innocent. He's got no problem with Cheryl Hines. She's actually been incredibly brave in standing up to the Hollywood bullies, because they did come for her when RFK Jr. first announced that he was going to be part of the Trump camp. Now let's talk about more serious stuff. The president of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele, is in the US. El Salvador is housing in its mega prisons a number of gangbangers in the US illegally. Tell me about the relationship he has with the Trump administration.
Well, the president of El Salvador is similar to Donald Trump in that he's no nonsense.
Exactly right.
And he wants to get rid of all the gangbangers, not only in his country, but here in America. He wants to kind of be like a private prison, third-party system where we can put a lot of these Trinidad-Rugas or MS-13 gangbangers. We can just send them down to El Salvador and we can pay them to house them. So, I love the idea of outsourcing our prisons to El Salvador. So this meeting, it could spell trouble for the cartels and the organized crime that is, causing a lot of problems here in America.
Yeah.
Make your browser.
That's all I got for that one. But yeah, I kind of agree with you, man. He looked right at her. But he didn't shake Tulsi Gabbard's hand either. So as far as we know, he is a chauvinist pig, a misogynist who only shakes men's hands. I don't know. But again, I maybe I'm reading too much into it. But that one hurt a little bit. And so I hope he doesn't do that again. I don't know. But I'm going to go with what the Sky News lady says. It was an accident. And I love the fact that he did go back there. I didn't see that. I didn't know that. And he did go back there and did talk to her at some point too. So that I did like. And so I'm going to go with that. I'm going to live in my dream fantasy world and just think everything is cool. We're all good. No problem. All right. Yes. Yeah. I have more thoughts on that stabbing. And again, my views have kind of leaned back towards it's not self-defense, Carmelo Anthony. I do want to hear more, but obviously he should not have been over there in the other team's camp. He was not justified in stabbing somebody, definitely. So I think maybe it'll be like a manslaughter case or something, like involuntary manslaughter or something. I think is what they'll get him for. I think he'll still do some time, but it's a kid on kid thing too. It's a minor on minor. So there's going to be a lot of different things. It probably won't even be televised because he's a minor. I don't know. We'll see. Depends on how they try him. Looks like he's got another lawyer. And they did lower the bond from 1 million to 250,000. So my thoughts changed on that. And no, I'm not writing a book on that case at all. No, I think I'm done with the true crime stuff. I've had my fair share of it. But you never know. So that is all that I have today about that. Well, let me just go to Truth Social here. And I do want to, oh, come on. Gotta share, present. Gotta have these things ready. I mean, what's going on? Not ready, not prepared today. All right, going to Truth Social with President Trump. This is what he said about 52 minutes ago. Perhaps Harvard should lose its tax-exempt status and be taxed as a political entity if it keeps pushing political, ideological, and terrorist-inspired supporting sickness. Remember, a tax-exempt status is totally contingent on acting in the public interest. And don't forget, good people, today, pay your taxes. So I think that's about it. I was hoping to see something that Trump says about Cheryl Hines, but again, I don't think he's that focused on it. I wish I don't know. That just bothered me. It bothered me then, it bothers me now. He usually posts stuff about the UFC fights when he's there. I'm not really seeing anything about that. It is kind of surprising. It's kind of cool that he is getting so much love at the UFC fights. I thought that was great. Yeah, so he just posted that, but I don't see anything about saying, hey, sorry, Cheryl. Didn't mean to snub you there. It wasn't on purpose. Please forgive me. Anything like that would have been great. So, all right. I believe that is about it. I want to thank everybody. Rick, I'll be contacting you very soon too. And until then, God bless you all. Have a great day. Remember, Jesus Christ loves you, and so do I, my friends. Till next time.